What's up, guys? This is Aaron Marshall, aka Intervals. I'm here with Backstage Explorers, and I'm going to run you guys through the gear that we have on this Europe UK tour, Spring 2025. Let's go. Okay, so starting with guitars, of course. We're a guitar band. So this is my Schecter USA Custom Shop AM7 from the wonderful folks at the Schecter USA Custom Shop in Sun Valley, California. This guitar doesn't look real. This is kind of my main 7 for this tour. These guitars are actually exclusive to Sweetwater in the US. They're sort of like a really premium run that we've done with these models. So it's no different than my normal AM6, AM7, except this one features a flame maple top, mahogany body, this beautiful roasted bird's eye on the neck, and ebony fingerboard on this one as well. And you'll notice these really cool custom tuners. So they're Hipshot tuners, but we made these custom like knurled domes for my model, which are really nice. My signature pickups, Solstice and Equinox from the Schecter USA Custom Shop. Fixed Hipshot bridge on this one, 5-way switch, volume tone, super simple. Lumen lay on the driver's side where it matters, and my signature, and this wonderful watermark here. And yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on. I'm using this in drop A for the majority of the show. It'll also do one song at the end of the show that's drop D with a low A. D'Addario NYXL 9-46 with a 62 on the low side, 26.5 scale. And this is sort of the main workhorse 7-string. So we've got that one moving along. Okay, up next we have the same guitar in 6-string. It's the exact same anatomy as the previous one, just in this lovely blue fade. 25.5. This one's tuned in drop C, D'Addario NYXL 11-56. This is the first version of my USA guitars with a fixed bridge as well on 6-string. Yeah, features the same tuners, same wonderful roasted bird's eye neck, mahogany body, and yeah. This might be my favorite guitar in the fleet, actually, and I'm really enjoying playing lots of songs in drop C again. This guitar feels really good with the 11s on. So same thing with my pickups, signature pickups, 5-way switch, and moving along. Okay, here we have the first version of my USA Custom Shop 6-string. This guitar is not too dissimilar from the more premium models that I just showed you. This was just the first iteration of the guitar, and it's a workhorse. It's just an alder body, no maple top, just a solid alder body, and we just have this roasted maple fingerboard and neck as well. A little more plain, a little more straight to the point. This guitar was the prototype. This has got it's the Schecter licensed version. They do their own, but it's effectively a Goto 510. I actually have this guitar blocked currently with just a piece of mahogany in the back. This guitar has to function in standard tuning and in drop D. And I'm actually kind of falling out of love with trem. So, at home, when we tour in North America and I can have lots of guitars, I'll pull a guitar out and I'll use trem and stuff like that. But when we're touring internationally, you know, we're having to cut down a little bit, and I sort of regret all these tunings now. So just only I mean, I don't from a creative standpoint, but you know, having to tour with so many guitars, it gets challenging, and I kind of don't love the idea of pitch shifting. I played too much nuanced lead to feel connected to my setup with pitch shifting. I'm sure that'll improve over time, but for now I'm still a purist. So yeah, I've just been kind of getting away from trem, and like, yeah, there's little things I can't do, but I prefer a more stable instrument. So anyway, that's this is the first version of the AM6, and I've only got one more guitar I'm playing in the show. This is the Outlier. This is an Aristides 070S. This is a really cool company from Haarlem in the Netherlands, and we've been friends for a really long time. You know, the guys at Schecter are really cool about, you know, affording me the opportunity to reach into my collection and pull something out every once in a while too, and I've had a really long, friendly relationship with the guys at Aristides. If you're not familiar with these, they're a fully sustainable all-green build, so no trees were harmed in the making of these guitars, so it's a fully synthetic body and fingerboard. This guitar has bare knuckle polymaths. That's Nolly's signature pickup. I love the knuckles stuff. You know, I've played bare knuckles for a really long time, and you know, outside of my own pickups and other, you know, they've always been a staple in my collection. I think Tim makes amazing pickups, and because of the slanted nature of the multi-scale, bare knuckle already makes fanned bobbins. So I just decided to choose a pickup in the range that I was curious about, and Nolly has good taste, and yeah, these are really cool. So we did a set of polymaths with these burnt chrome pull pieces that kind of match the vibe with the splatter. It's obviously got my intervals watermark here, lumen lay on this side where it matters, and the entire guitar is just fully splattered out with this cool like retro neon kind of vibe. Nice steel block in the back there. This guitar is tuned in drop A flat, and it is a 25 and something scale to almost 27 on the low side, which is why I choose it as the candidate for the half step tuning on the drop seven string stuff, drop A flat, just because it manages the tension on the high side and keeps things like really slinky and buttery on the leads, and nice and tight on the rhythm side. So D'Addario 10 to 46 and a 65 gets the job done on this one. 5-way switch, volume tone, and yeah, it's just a beautiful guitar. This is you know, like I said, I've had a long time friendship with these guys. There's a few other ones in the collection, but they made me this earlier this year or earlier this year. And I love it. It really handles the back catalog, drop A flat stuff really well. So I'm only playing those 4 guitars in the show. Let's move along to the rest of the setup. Schecter approached me at a time sort of early in the pandemic, where things were changing. I think we're in 2025. We're really seeing it now with the reordering of global trade, and not to say that it weighs on my mind too much, but I wasn't thinking on the trade side. I was thinking more so on the logistical side. It can be challenging to work with a company overseas that needs to support you while you're traveling anywhere on tour. So it was just more so like I had an intuition that things maybe needed to change, and Schecter got in touch at the right time. And there were other opportunities afforded to me outside of just building fancy USA guitars. Obviously, the Diamond Series is something that's really important to offer, like a high performance instrument that's readily available at a quality price point, you know, that people can access. So I don't have any of the Diamond Series guitars with me, but they tour great. You know, they're really durable, and I love them as well. And those were the first ones we designed, actually. So yeah, that was part of why. And then yeah, they're a company with a deep, long history. My good friend Nick Johnston has been playing Schecter for a long time, and you know, having the opportunity to play his and Keith Merrow's USA guitars, like I was always blown away by the quality from the USA Custom Shop. Schecter USA is the OG LA like Sunset Strip like custom guitar, so they have a pedigree there. There's a deep reputation. So like, how do you say no? How do you say no to that? You know, so that's kind of where that came from. So our setup on this tour is quite pared back from what we would normally use in North America. Freight and traveling and flying and these things are the limitation. We are in a bus here. So we've got a little bit more than maybe we would use on like a festival date or just like a single fly-in internationally, but it's not the fully fledged rig. So when we travel like this internationally, we opt to use the Fractal FM9s. Obviously, if I could have Axe FX3s with me in a rack, I would, but the FM9 is amazing, and I've been touring them since they were available, and they're really solid, and it allows me to use all my presets and my sounds on the floor. Then I can take all my racked presets and just put them right there at my, you know, I was gonna say fingertips, but I guess at my toes. And the setup is not much different than how we would run it in North America. Everything is automated. Logic is driving the bus. We have playback in the corner over there today, but Logic is the brain, contains all of our playback, and it contains a pretty extensive amount of MIDI that runs the FM9 for myself and for Travis on second guitar. We're doing everything from program changes for the different songs. We're doing CCs for scene control, so I can have different combinations of sounds inside a given preset. So it's one preset per song, and then I'll have about 8 sounds that I'll use inside a given preset. Sometimes I get a little crazy and I have to spill over into another preset. Maybe there's 10 or 12 sounds in a song or something. But it's very easy to manage. The Fractal products have gapless switching, so I can go from anywhere to anywhere inside the unit. I technically don't even really need to use scenes to manage that. I could just go from preset to preset to preset and it would be fine. But I have a habit of just kind of organizing and cataloging everything by, song and sound, right? We're not running cabinets on this particular tour. Normally we would run a set of, at home we use vertical 212 cabinets. They take up a little bit less footprint, and it allows us to go a pair of bass cabs, a pair of myself, and then a pair of Travis on the outside. The reason for that is we run all of our guitars in stereo. Bass is in dual mono, and guitars are in stereo. This allows us to get things like modulation, any time-based effects that have, nuance between the left and the right, like ping pong delays, dual delays, choruses, micro pitch shifting, things like that. Allows us to represent that in the cabinets on the stage as well as in the front of house. But we're opting for no cabinets on this tour just to keep it easy. Some tighter rooms at times, so no cabinets, and that's fine. Internally in our camp, we call that going boneless. So we say, today we're going boneless. So the whole tour is boneless, but it's really simple. That's kind of the extent of that. Bass, I should also mention, is also on the FM9. Jacob's playing his bass in the FM9. And yeah, I'm also doing some expression control and things like that. MIDI runs everything. If I have a perfect show, I never touch the unit once with my feet. So the song will end, it forces right to the tuner. I just look down, and then when the next song starts, changes preset, tuner off, and we go. So in a perfect show, I never even touch it once with my feet. If you see me touching it, we have a problem. So
how long did it take to program anything?
Too long. Not true. I'm working off of show files and work that's already been done for tours and tours and tours. So a lot of it's already kind of there. I just make adjustments as we go. Maybe I'll learn a new trick and I'll start implementing that, But it's tedious, but it's all you really have to do is just drop the song, the wave inside your DAW. And I just sit there and I just map out where the changes need to happen. And then when I, really have the focus to do so, I just sit with the instrument and just dial in a sound that's like maybe album accurate if I can, or it influences the sound and then I'll tweak it to be suitable for live. So that's kind of the setup there. Otherwise, we are running some wireless. I'm wearing packs on me now, so we've got Sennheiser G4 for the in-ears. And I'm using a Shure, the GL-DX, I think it's the new one. Yeah, nothing crazy, just something to keep me feeling free on stage. I don't love being on a cable. I feel like a caged animal when I'm on a cable. So we decided to bring the Shure back into the mix. So we used to use them in the past. At home, of course, we use Sennheiser G4 as well on the guitars, but we don't have all of our infrastructure with us. Lastly, I should say we are running a Allen and Heath D-Live at the front of house. It's a little outside my jurisdiction, so I can't really cover too much front of house, but from what I do know is at home we would typically run a Behringer X32 in the rack that allows us to all have control over our in-ears on stage. We've decided to cut back on that, and Chase, my front of house engineer, is running ears from the D-Live. So we have a really nice in-ear mix, though. I haven't asked for a single adjustment since we started tour over a week ago. I think the guys are relatively the same. We have a nice studio grade all stereo mix. We are carrying, of course, infrastructure like the drum loom and everything that you see downstage to catch all the signal. All self-contained, so it's really reliable. I use 64 audio in-ears. I'm using the 12 driver models. I love them dearly. And I think that's pretty much the extent of our setup. That's a good question. So I believe Chase has me panned inwards just a little bit, and Travis is wide. Give him the impression of rhythm guitars, and he might have me brought in a little bit. I also know there's a little bit of trickery in terms of delaying one slightly over the other to just also get that sort of like, he might be doing it on the sides just to get that slightly doubled effect. And I'll do that too using micro pitch shift. Sometimes when Travis plays a rhythm alone or when I play a rhythm alone, I will blend in a little bit of detuned micro pitch shift to give the impression of a doubled guitar. Yeah. And for sure. And for when, that's taking advantage of stereo in a way. I think people always think delays, reverbs. For me, it's about modulation as a sort of attempt at width, and we'll do it on static guitars too, like a rhythm, doesn't have to be time-based. So yeah, I don't know all the trickery that's going on out front. It's a little outside my wheelhouse, but I do know that there is some consideration that has to happen with 2 pairs of stereo guitars, for sure, yeah. The only other thing is that I didn't mention, of course, is playback is just run off the MacBook, like I said, Logic, and then we're using the iConnectivity Play Audio 12, the little half rack, and then we have a MIDI interface as well. So, and that's what's feeding everything out. We're using MIDI to XLR adapters on both sides of the downstage rig and back at playback. That allows us to take an XLR daily and actually run long MIDI lines without having to carry lots of big, heavy MIDI cable. And with the units all being downstage, it's kind of a really cool way to be able to pipe MIDI out of the playback rig downstage. And like I said, I stand in front of it and I don't have to touch it. So when it comes to guitar stuff, obviously I just choose what makes me comfortable, what I think handles the tuning well, what I want to have on stage with me. Obviously, now that I have a fleet of signature guitars, it's pretty obvious what comes with me. I will throw a lark in there every once in a while, like the Aristides or something from my collection, just to, you know, have some fun and provide some variety. And, you know, like I said, I'm fortunate to be afforded the opportunity to do that. But when it comes to other aspects, like the Fractal ecosystem is like where I'm the most comfortable. The gear is really robust, and I haven't been able to find anything it can't do. And if I find myself in a situation like that, they are a phone call, a text, or an email away, and they're amazing. These guys know everything about these units and more, and I'm constantly learning from them, and it's really impressive how future-proof the gear is, because things are constantly changing, and I haven't been able to stump it yet. So, and when it comes to the pro audio side of things, that's on Chase. You know, we used to use the Behringer consoles. Now we use the Allen and Heath stuff. The D-Live's been amazing. He is using some analog equipment as well. There's a Neve MBT and some other fun little pre's and some things going on to just add a little bit of like upper harmonic, you know, richness and color to, I think, otherwise what would be like really quality signals straight out of the units. But those toys really do level things up. Chase showed me what the MBT is doing on the master bus. You know, it's just the whole mix is just feeding to this one piece. He's got it dialed up like maybe like 10%, and the bypass on and off on that will just blow your mind, the difference that it makes. There's like a depth and dimension that happens there. I know he's running some cool stuff on guitars. So yeah, like we try not to be overkill, especially on an international run like this. You know, if you saw the A rig in North America, you might see a little bit more bells and whistles. But for the most part, we're able to recreate the same vibe and pull it all out of like Pelican cases and stuff, and do it, you know, here in Paris and tomorrow in Antwerp and yesterday in London. So yeah, that's pretty much the extent of what we're using. Everybody on stage except for bass is using D'Addario strings. Jacob is using Dingwall strings. And for those that care, Jacob's playing all Dingwalls. Maybe something special that you might see come next year. I don't know. Travis is using all Jackson guitars on this tour, right? All Jacksons, no Charvels, right?
All Jacksons.
All Jacksons, yeah. So we're touring with the Quantum cases, yeah. Everyone's got those. Travis has got a couple of the Gator double boats as well. Just the math made more sense for him to fly with those. But Jacob and I are using Quantum cases. Warm up. It's constantly changing, and I'm always at odds with whether or not I need to warm up a lot or just a little. I've heard Guthrie say he prefers to just like meet the instrument 10 minutes before the show like an old friend, just a handshake, you know, and not think about it so much. And maybe when I'm like mid-tour or I'm really oiled up and feeling good about it, that's how it goes. But I find myself warming up quite a bit on this tour, and it just starts with the usual, like a lot of the Petrucci rock discipline stuff. You know, like make a staircase, flip the inside, flip the outside, flip, you know, like this kind of thing, just for grip, kind of get the hands connected to the brain. A little bit of alt picking, just chromatic stuff, you know, nothing like too gratifying, just mechanical. And then once I feel good and no resistance and warmed up, then I will revisit nightmares that are haunting me from last night's show. Whatever that is. And it's different every day. For example, last night we almost had a perfect show in London, and then for some reason my brain started leaking out of my ear in the last song, and I forgot how to play the chorus in string theory for some reason. So we're going to review that one today. But that's, it's changing on a day-to-day basis. And if I had a really good show the night prior, then maybe I'm just kind of, it's more mechanical. And I try not to go into shows with the baggage of last night. So if I have to address something, I will, but I try not to think about it too much, so. Good coffee, a solid meal somewhere. Europe's good for that. And 8 hours of sleep if I can. He says after he peels himself out of a 5 a.m. ferry. Sorry guys, I'm a little tired today, but yeah, decent night's rest, a good coffee, and a nice meal with the fellas, you know. We're 7 days on right now. We get one more show tomorrow in Antwerp. That'll make 7 in a row, and then we get a day off in Luxembourg on Sunday, which is my dad's birthday, and then I get to play a show in Luxembourg on Monday on my birthday. We're 2 days apart, so yeah, looking forward to that. I hear there's a lot of Michelin star restaurants in Luxembourg, so that's what I need. Favorite song to play live? I have to give you the diplomatic, like, political answer and say they all have equal representation. They're all my lovely children. I can't choose. No, but on this tour, I'm really enjoying playing Leave No Stone, and I've always felt that way about that song. And when I wrote it, I never thought like, oh, it's gonna be like the live one. But I really like that tune, and I've started improvising and adding a little bit more to the end of that song and feeling free there. Been improvising a bit on Epiphany on this tour as well, and maybe that says something about where I'm at, where I think like trying to loosen up and get off the rails a little bit and think freely is maybe something I'd like to do more of. So both of those are great. The new stuff is very much in the wheelhouse of where my brain is right now. So, you know, opening the show with Neurogenesis like feels really good. You know, it opens the record. We're here to support that album, so that just feels right. Yeah, String Theory is a lot of fun to play, even though I forgot how to do the chorus last night. We're gonna get that tightened up tonight. I've already chosen way more than one song, so I screwed your question up. But if I had to pick one standout from this tour where I'm like really looking forward to it every night, it's Leave No Stone. And if I had to give you the opposite, it's Rubicon Artist, because Jacob bullies me into playing this every tour, and there's too many notes in that song, and it's way too fast. But we're getting it dialed in. I watched videos last night and it felt pretty good, so. Yeah, so it's been, since I played on this stage here, I think 2019, so. Were you there? Yeah. And we've done this room a few times and we love playing in Paris. I've also played Devant Dumont down around the corner, I think. It's not too far, right? It's my first time in Paris there back in 2014. We got to do that with Protest the Hero and Tesseract. We did it again in 2016 with Animals as Leaders. All of that is to say we love playing in Europe, and it's really sad that it's taken so long to come back. This is not by design. This is certainly a byproduct of the pandemic and things changing, especially considering we've toured North America almost 9 times since 2021, which is insane. And we even returned to Japan and Australia last year as well, and I felt very sheepish about announcing that before the return to Europe. What you're seeing now is us coming back to Europe to turn the lights back on. And I think strategically we might have been waiting to maybe support another band and come over and do it that way. I decided I think we need to come over, and fans have been very patient and we love playing here. So 2025 was the year that we needed to come back and just do a headliner and play this music, especially 2 new albums since the pandemic, since we saw you guys last in 2019. The goal is to return more frequently, and we're manifesting for 2026. So it should be good. But I feel really fulfilled to be back. We love playing in Europe. It's a bucket list. It always has been. It's a privilege because outside of North America, Europe is like the first market we got to play that wasn't on the continent where I'm from. So it's a really special place. And everything here is an adventure. And, I love to hang out on a cobblestone street and enjoy a drink near a wonderful cathedral and not near a Walmart. So that's always going to be my choice. So we love Europe, and it's nice to be back in France. And let's do more.